I have spent the best part of a whole day building a mounting plate for all the electrical items that have to be installed in the back. And that includes mounting points, top and bottom. And now it's a matter of getting the layout right. The idea is that I can do a lot of the wiring right here without having to be cramped in the back of the vehicle while I'm doing it. So not only is that going to help with the final quality, it's also going to mean that I can now sit with all of the items that I need to mount on it, and I can move them around, shuffle them around, and decide what goes where. I'm Andrew St Pierre White. Join me as I share my passion for building four-wheel drive trucks and then travelling to the remotest parts of the world. So the items I have to fit is my Redox DC charger, and the charging mode lights appear there, so I want them visible, so that it's going to be on the left hand side fairly high up. These are the bracket positions I've already marked. I have a radio that can go actually anywhere. That's the most flexible. Here, not on the board, will be the ARB double compressor, and then I've got this, which is the DC hub. I'll explain what that is later. I've got a nice big inverter. That's actually not particularly heavy, but I will put it at the bottom here. So now comes the process of deciding where to fit all of these items. And well, it's a game. Let me now explain the DC hub. Not only is it a new product, but it's a new type of product. Now the purpose of the DC hub is to have one central place with integral fuse box where everything is wired to, including the auxiliary batteries, main batteries, charging units, lights, you name it, all come together in one place. And the reason why that's a good idea is that because these connections are such high quality connections, you don't need lugs, you don't need heat shrinking, so that saves a lot of labor, a lot of time, and would reduce fitting time and speed up fault finding. The reason why I'm giving this product such a great introduction is that it was conceptualized, designed and developed by Heiner Klarman and myself.
It's definitely hotter than anything you want to touch right now.
We both agreed that a central hub with integral fuse box would solve so many problems faced by anyone doing a complex DC wiring build. So this is the one we actually used for testing.
Let's see how long it takes to break it.
And as you can see now, that's molten plastic.
The fuse is bubbling. I can see. There we go. That proves that our fuse holder, our circuit board, our connector, they are actually standing up to what they should be. We've got an 80 amp fuse in here, and we put 100 amp through that circuit, and the 100 amp should not blow the fuse straight away. It should slowly heat up the fuse up to 145 degrees, and then the fuse will pop. And the fuse has to go before anything else in the circuit goes. And we just proved that. We managed to get, what was it, something like 110 amps through a 25 amp connector for 30 minutes, and it still didn't damage the board. That was one of our tests. That was a fun day, but it stood up to an enormous amount of abuse. That's 100 amps now. Yes, that is it. That was the board. So 100 amp didn't do it. At 130 amp, we could finally melt the board on the 25 amp circuit.
You see, with the hub, all the cables that run all of the periphery auxiliary equipment in the vehicle will come through that side there, which would be easy. So I must actually take them away from the bottom or away from the side. that would be better. Main battery goes into there, so this would probably be better suited like this. These cables, these go into these ones here. Okay, DC charger, solar input, end regulated solar input. The start battery, doesn't matter where I put that, that's not important. These two, not that important. Auxiliary batteries. You see, if I put it like that, then I've got all of these cables running up here, like that, to run all the cables. Alright, I can still see those. Okay, my brackets, enough room for those, like that. The radio here is fine, because the radio cable would come out there, and the antenna this way. Hub is like that. Auxiliary battery. I look at it in terms of, this is actually looking the best to me this minute. There are a couple of important things to think about when planning a layout, and that is the thickness of the cables. Where are they coming from and where are they going to? Now, cables like this, I can comfortably curl them in that kind of radius, and I'll have enough space to work with them. So something like that will actually work reasonably well. If I have not already mentioned, this is the Egon DC hub, and I'm now going to wire it up and wire as many of these components to it as I can before I install it in the car. So the idea behind the DC hub also is that I don't need to put a crimp on. If I had to put a crimp on, I would then need to shrink wrap it, and with this I just plain don't need to do it. And so here it is. There's the hub, and in DC to DC, it's a solar power connector, the GME radio. But of course, this is all temporary, because once we've built the interior here, then we will have to rerun all of these wires. And I really want to go and show it to Heine, but I'm a little bit concerned of what he's going to say, because, well, it's a mess. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a lot of cables. It's definitely lots of cables there. I think
the idea of the board at the back was permanent, but then all the way the wires would run would be done properly, which is obviously not the case now.
It is very functional, but I think it's just missing something. It's a little bit boring. It could be cooler. It's missing the.
So what you're saying is it's boring.
So it's just not cool enough. I think this could be a lot better, even though this will work, but we can make it better.
Let me now clarify what Heine means when he says uncool. This, to him, is cool. This is a remarkable installation. It's kind of, what would you do if you could, and money was no object?
What we have got is we got the Manager 30 from Red Arc just over there, and we also got a BCDC 1250D from Red Arc over here. The reason we put two chargers in is that we can parallel them and get a 80 amp DC-DC charger working this way, because we have a very large battery bank. We get two 200 amp hour lithium batteries in here, and there is already space here for another two 200 amp hour lithium batteries, just in case we have to upgrade to a 800 amp hour storage. Reason for that is we also have a 3000 watt Red Arc inverter here, because we want to run the roof aircon, induction cooking, a washing machine, and a lot of other 240 volt things through the batteries in here. So we're going to start with 400 amp hour batteries, but we can extend to 800 amp hours. And we got all the charging there that we need. We got automatic 240 volt charging, so you can plug the car into shore power under the bonnet, and it will automatically transfer everything to 240 volt power supply. The charger is going to turn on automatically, and all the solar charging will go through the BCDC charger, so you can have another 320 watt on top and another two 300 watt solar blankets in the back. And hopefully that should be enough for this really power hungry application.
So 400 amp hour capacity. What is the maximum solar charging capacity in real terms?
5. It's actually a 1250D, so we can get 50 amp current out of that DC-DC charger. And the idea why we have got all the solar panels connected only to the DC-DC charger and not the manager is that if you are on site somewhere where you got solar charging but you also got 240 volt charging, that way we can still harness the full 30 amp 240 volt charging from the manager, plus we get almost 50 amps in really good situation from the DC-DC charger. So even without the engine running, we can then have almost 80 amp charging through all the DC-DC solar controllers.
Now explain to me, it has shore power system. Can you explain that to me?
Absolutely. So we have got a connector under the bonnet here, like you find on caravans. So you can plug in shore power, means the grid, here, and that cable is connected to an automatic transfer switch. Also connected to that transfer switch is the inverter, and the output from that transfer switch goes to the electric installation in the vehicle. So now if you connect the grid to it, the automatic transfer switch detects after 30 seconds of stable grid power supply that we are now connected to an external power supply and switches from the inverter to power supply from here, and everything on the inside will run off the grid. It also puts power to a dedicated power outlet that is only powered up when the grid is connected, and that means the Manager 30 detects now a 240 volt signal and starts charging the batteries. You want to make it a little bit more exciting.
This is coming from a German, I must tell you. Now, normally the word boring is, when a German says it,
like we say in the workshop, it's not darty enough, so we want to make it darty, so it's extremely cool.
God, it must be boring.
It will look good, it will work well, and I think that will suit your vehicle a lot better.
The interior back portion will be built at Quick Pitch by Rob.
One thing that I've discussed with Andrew before was how we can change this, and we've done something similar together with the Prado, where we thought we'd do the whole rear fit out in a way that we have the battery compartment in the center, in the bottom again. We can have stowaway areas on the sides, like we had in that Prado job we did before. And then we're gonna build this up again, so you got inspection access either from the side or from the top like we did before. And then on this side, we're gonna step it down a little bit, so Andrew's got a work area here. But instead of having a flat area after that, we're gonna step this up here. And then keep on going at a little bit higher ground, maybe from here, step it up to here, and have this coming out here a little bit as well, so we can have switches and connectors for USB and accessory, whatever Andrew wants in here. And on here, we create like a false floor about this high, so we can use that to put all the electrics on top here. And also have the inverter in there. Obviously we put enough ventilation in so that the inverter can draw fresh air and pump it out this side, and we've got the 240 volt bit directly here, so you can plug in whatever you want to charge directly here in your little work area.
So then that side will be like more like a workstation.
Yeah, this side will be a workstation with extra storage space underneath, and your side will be pretty much the same, also with the extra storage space underneath it. And maybe we can still incorporate a drawer, the one that we use in the Troopy. That was just a rough idea that we might be able to pull this out here.
The idea of the drawer is that drawer from the troop carrier was long and narrow, and I think it'll work. And I had a whole lot of fittings in there which were perfect for camera equipment. So look, it's not a must-have, but it would be nice if it can work.
Because you want it so that you can actually pull the workstation out, so you can work outside as well, so you're not having to lean into the car.
No, just the workstation in here, just a drawer with a lot of bits and pieces that you can pull out and go, yeah, I want to grab this, and then put it back in and be back in your workstation. So the workstation is like a little desk almost. In here with all your power connections around it and your switches that you might need.
Get some idea of what it's going to look like.
All right, well, it needs to be shorter for starters. But if we pull it a bit your way, it will slide in and out. So if we make this a little bit shorter,
Do you want to get up? So go in.
yep, that should work. Even if we would make one each side,
Yeah.
maybe
split
not
it.
have one that comes out all the way, but have one each side, then it will be easier to get into the battery
Yeah.
compartment as
Yeah, you
well.
could split.
Yeah.
So you're saying that size drawer, but two, one left and right?
Yeah, now cut in half,
Yes.
and then you pull half of it to one side, the other half to the other side.
Which will help you access the batteries that are going to be underneath it. I only need half a battery, half a drawer, if it's going to be similar length to that, which it will be. That's good enough. That'll work.
Okay.
Yeah. Because then the passenger can then use that for whatever they like, their personal stuff.
Yeah.
Which is actually also quite
Yeah,
nice.
and we still have got some storage space that we can access for underneath it. What's the height gonna be like? So this height, that will actually work quite well, because the batteries can sit underneath it still. We can use the back to run cables up into the electric compartment that's gonna be sitting here. I think we have to do a little bit of trickery to actually get the travel body in there as well, and underneath it, the circuit board.
We're not going to come just square up. We're going to put a bit of shape into it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
You don't want it like that wiring, do you? Boring.
We're going on and on about my boring wiring. Okay, guys, I get it. Okay. I don't actually have to get a pie while I'm driving.
But you could.
Yes, I could, but I'm just saying it's not a deal breaker.
Okay, so if we put that to the side
It
somewhere or a bit further back, that will be alright.
Not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this, of course, is the Travel Buddy. Many of you will recognize it from my troop carrier. It's a little oven, and it's fantastic. But I do like the Egon He DC hub, pride of place,
Yeah, alright.
because
Yeah.
we're very proud of it.
Yeah.
Heiner and I are very proud of this little thing, so we want to show it off.
And I'm very proud that you two are very proud of that.
Oh, Rob, I didn't know you feel this way.
I do, it's just-
It's just- yeah.
it brings a tear to my eye. So are you going to be looking for places to store laptops, that kind of thing? And
Camera gear and laptops. What is important though is that there is almost like a workplace on both sides. A flat area, and as you say, charging units against the bulkhead, so you can plug in USB, plug in AC as well, but a flat area here and a flat area there, because I know that sometimes I will want to just pull out a laptop and do some downloads and things without getting into the camper, or even if I'm traveling without the camper, it's all in one.
right there, build
storage.
into it actual purpose built for your laptop, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So you just slot the laptop in, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yes.
Then if you're storing anything on top, your laptop's away, it's out of the way, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get any damage, it's not going to rattle around. You're not having to put it in the bottom of a drawer with all your stuff on top and all that kind of thing. So you just actually make
Yes.
like a slot for it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think especially on this side that will work quite
Yeah.
well, because we have all the space, so you can just under the drawer have a little section like this where you can just
so you can slide
slide in. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good idea. And I think it will also be key that will be about this height with the work area, so it's not too high.
Yeah.
But we also don't want to come up too high in the end here, so that we can still have the window the way it is, because if nothing's on the back, I think it's quite handy to actually have the rear view. So we want to have the work platform here, and then when we build it up a bit higher for the electric compartment there, we don't want to come maybe a little bit, but not much higher than that edge there. And that
we're
will
going to
be
use this backboard here on either wing as more storage, smaller storage.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We can use that as well. And on this side, I also wanted it to be having a face plate here, so we can have. Yeah, very
If we
true.
bring it out, it's
Yeah.
more storage for.
Yeah, that's cool. And then just put little bits and
Yeah.
pieces in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the plywood version would be good, because you're going to have that many different change of heights and angles. It'll be solid as, because they'll all interlock and everything. You can put a nice plush carpet finish on it as well, and it'll be bloody quiet. Very quiet, because you don't get any vibration off the aluminium and that kind of thing. So
another good thing that we can do with this is we are going to use the mounting points for the seats. So we will just have big panel washers, and we will use the genuine bolt holes and just bolt the whole structure in where it was bolted in before. So if you ever feel the urge to take this back out, which is going to be complicated because of the electrics, but there'll be no drilling or anything required. It just bolts down exactly where it was before, and at some stage you could even put the seats back in if you really wanted to.
yeah, because it'll be, I mean, looking at it roughly, you're probably looking at undoing probably 2-3 parts. You know, this will come off, centre box will come off, and then the bottom will
I think the only problem will be the electrics, getting the electrics out of there is probably, because you just disable the whole electric system if you take the box out, because everything will be in there.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to be a problem, because it's not going to come out regardless, wouldn't it?
So there you have it. That's what's happened to my electrical installation. As much fun as it was to install, it's going to be changed completely. Now, I had some fantastic news today. It's the 19th of April, and I got a call from Jason from Tommy Campers saying your camper is ready and it will go on the transport tomorrow, so I should have it in my hands before the end of April. That, it's so cool. See you next time.